This is Karan. You're probably wondering why he looks like this. To understand why, let's go back in time. Karan's parents gifted him a brand new phone when he was in class 10. Back then, social media was, social. So he went on the best app that was possible, Facebook. Added all of his friends, poked them, found out what they're doing, commented, liked, did everything all of us did on Facebook and actually interacted with his friends until one day he got a notification. Divya tagged him on a photo and he was finally cool in his own eyes. When Divya tagged him in that photo, that was the best high he had ever experienced. And he wanted more and more and a little bit more. Facebook was so popular in India that it was actually the second largest market for Facebook with 10 crore users. They actually cracked the Indian market. And then Instagram happened. This was a breath of fresh air. All those pictures, it looked beautiful. I mean, look at that scroll. And the best thing was, Karan's parents weren't on it. Instagram launched Reels, and this changed everything. You see, humans are pleasure-seeking creatures, and they want a way to satiate their pleasure. So they have to have a desire, and they go out and find a way to actually complete it. But the brain and the body isn't designed for that kind of reward every single day. But social media seriously messes up the brain, and you become addicted. The interesting thing about Reels is that it creates a social bubble. You can see here, Karan was dating this girl, and all he saw on his social feed was relationships, dating, and how love makes life beautiful. But suddenly one day, he broke up with her. And all he sees on that feed is toxic relationships, self-help, how you should be solo, how you should enjoy your life and not be dependent on anyone. But why and how has this happened? Here is why. Because apps track everything. These are some popular apps and everything that they track. Purchases, location, contacts, user content, search history, browsing history, usage data of their internet, financial information, etc. But out of the 1,000 possibilities, let's look at one. SMS. Just with this, imagine how much information you can get. You can get all the purchase history, location, where they're going, and you can sum this up to actually create a persona of what this person is. They know more about you than you know you. Cause you can see from this report right here that the company's behavioral advertising business, which is its main business, I can see here, out of the $55.8 billion it earned, 55 billion came from ads. So if they have to monetize your free time, they have to do something a little more sinister, human psychology. In fact, this is how Karan ended up here in the first place. But I'll tell you that a little bit later. Since you've been watching this video, a notification has played 5 times and you probably didn't even notice it. And I'm sure at least once you would have checked your phone and then thought, yaar, koi notification hai nahi? Or you would have paused this video because you had to check that important message. And this is the first way an app exploits your psychology. The notification. If an app wants your attention, they should have a custom notification sound. But actually they don't. They use the default one that comes with the phone. And the reason is so it blends in with all the important notifications. Trust me, that notification is not urgent, but because it blends in with SMS and all the other important notifications, you feel like checking. And once you check, you get something called the variable reward. And because of that, you crave that dopamine hit again. Now, since the social media apps know what is triggering those dopamine hits, they send you these notifications at random times. The next hack, I call the red danger zone hack. You see, humans perceive the color red to be danger. That's why every single notification has a red dot saying, "This is important, I need your attention." On the other hand, if your family goes to a wedding and they give a red lifafa with the money, the shagun, then you know that next time when they come to your family event, they have probably kept a track of how much shagun you had given, and I'm sure your parents or someone elder actually keeps a track of this and tries to reciprocate it the next time they go to their event. This is called social reciprocity. And the same thing is true on social media apps too. When you see 12 unread messages on WhatsApp, you feel like replying to it ASAP. The next hack is called loss aversion. Think of it like this. The psychological pain of losing something has almost twice more value than something that you can gain of about equal importance.
भाई स्नैप, अबे स्ट्रीक टूट जाएगी भाई। 2 साल से चल रही है यार, 2 मिनट में टूट जाएगी। जल्दी भेज, जल्दी वेट कर रहा हूं मैं।
He panicked because his friend didn't send him a photo and he would break a streak. To be honest, मेरे को नहीं पता था what a Snapchat streak is. It's people sending photos to each other to maintain this. I asked around office, and this is what their streak count was.
1000 होगा इसको.
Highest 2000.
Yeah.
ठीक है 1000 प्लस.
1056.
449.
हाँ भाई.
So I asked them, how much money or badge or what do you get when you get a streak? Like, what's the end goal? And they said,
ऐसे ही, it's fun.
खुशी.
किस चीज की?
खुद के लिए खुशी. कुछ नहीं मिला यार.
there's no end goal. That's why I think this is a crazy hack. And because of these tactics, Indians on average spend 194 minutes or 3 hours on social media every single day. And you know what's ironic? The owners, the founders of these social media apps themselves publicly say that they prevent their own children from using these apps, maybe because they understand the consequences. But I'm not just talking about bias. We're also talking about something a little more scary. It's how your brain develops. You see, people who are addicted to their phones and can't stop scrolling actually have lower gray matter in their prefrontal cortex. Our cognitive load, our thinking, analytics comes from that side of the brain. So if you don't exercise it like a muscle, it actually doesn't develop. And we've actually proved it. The consequences of mobile phone dependence are horrible. Psychological distress, emotional instability, decreased self-control, reduced work performance. But the scariest out of all of them is isolation.
फोन छोड़ दो दोनों बाप बेटा, खाने का टाइम है.
फोन छोड़ दे, सुनाई नहीं देता.
पापा मत करो ना.
इसको समझ ही नहीं आती कि फोन ही चलते रहते हैं.
फोन छोड़ दे बेटा, प्लेट तो रखने दे इधर.
यार मम्मा मुझे नहीं खाना है ऐसे.
Now imagine the brain is designed for, let's say, this level of stimulation. But now with social media, you are overstimulated and you're way over here. So when you get bored with any app, you just switch to Snapchat. And then you get bored of that, you switch to Instagram or LinkedIn or something else which gives you that dopamine rush. And you always want to stay in that overstimulated stage, which is not normal, but you have normalized it. In fact, 70% of teens who are away from their phones report that they're anxious. That's why when you look at Instagram Reels, there's a new feature where even in a 30-second reel, they have a jump ahead. I mean, 30 seconds. Someone can't wait 5 seconds and they have turned this into a product. But what if this addiction ceases to exist? And that becomes the worst nightmare of an addict. And it's exactly what happened to Karan when he left his phone at home.
भैया 18 सेक्टर. चलो भैया. No. Oh shit. आप भैया वापस चल सकते हो क्या?
वापस?
हाँ, मेरा फोन रह गया.
अरे नहीं भैया, वापस नहीं जा पाऊंगा मैं. अब इतना दूर आके आप बता रहे हो.
प्लीज भैया आप एक्स्ट्रा ले लेना प्लीज.
एक्स्ट्रा की बात नहीं यार, वहाँ सवारी नहीं मिलती.
भैया जो सवारी से कमाओगे मुझसे कमा लेना यार प्लीज ना.
अरे भैया बारिश में बहुत जाम रहता है, आप बात नहीं समझ रहे हो आप.
यार भैया नहीं जाते. भैया प्लीज भैया, मेरा फोन रह गया, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है।
अरे भैया नहीं जा सकता, बात आप भी समझो यार, कैसी बात कर रहे हो?
हाँ ठीक है, आप ना मुझे लोकेशन पे छोड़ दो, एक पैसा नहीं दूंगा आपको मैं।
पैसा कैसे नहीं दोगे यार?
बिल्कुल नहीं दूंगा।
पैसा कैसे?
पैसा कैसे? भैया सामने देखो। देखना भैया, ये फोन ना पानी में एकदम से चला गया था। भैया चेक करना, मैं ना भैया पूल में जाना भी नहीं चाह रहा था, पता नहीं क्यों मुझे धक्का दे दिया भैया, बहुत सारा पानी चला गया भैया।
चेक कर ले रहा हूँ।
हाँ, ठीक तो हो जाएगा ना? ठीक, हाँ, आप देख लो अच्छे से देख लो।
Karan, honestly, I'm a bit worried about you. And you know, Karan, I know all these videos on the internet are blaming all these companies, but they're not focusing on something. They're all saying, it's not in your hand, addictive bana dete hain, it's not your fault, what to do, aisa hi hai. But they're completely wrong. You actually have the most important part to play in this entire thing. You can decide that you want to focus. You can decide that you want to move your body because that brings you pleasure. You can change the tiny habits that you do. Even getting up early, 15 minutes early a day and doing those 5 push-ups dramatically changes you from the rest of the population. And those tiny changes actually make a whole lot of difference, because if your trajectory was this, it can become something completely different from a tiny change you make today. So promise me, if you do these 2 things and start today, you'll be completely different from everyone else, because we aren't helpless. You can get out of autopilot mode if you really, really want to.